Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new box office breakdown show here at Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Dinnerberg. We break down the box office of this past weekend, which was September the 16th to the 18th, 2022, with a couple new releases hitting the top five this weekend, as well as we're going to break down the overall 2022 domestic and worldwide charts. Welcome back to this channel. My name is Max Dinnerberg. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring that bell so you're notified when those my videos drop. I do this show every single Monday, as well as other movie, TV show reviews, and movie rankings as well. So please subscribe as well. Comment down below, what did you see this past weekend in theaters? What are you seeing this upcoming weekend in theaters? And please like the video, guys, the thumbs up button. That's how you support this channel. So let's break down this weekend, which was a pretty shocking weekend where three of the top five movies of the weekend are new releases coming out this weekend. We have not had something like that in a while. Now, these are not banger numbers or numbers to, hoot and holler about. Really, for really one of these movies you can really be celebrating for their success, but clearly just not enough in the box office, and clearly there's an audience out there craving new releases. So let's get into the box office this weekend. Starting with number one, the biggest release of the weekend is The Woman King. This is from Sony Pictures. Gets a shocking, for most people, $19 million opening weekend. It was supposed to be around like the 10, 11 mark, jumped all the way up, 94% Rotten Tomatoes with an A+ cinema score. Now, if you know how rare that is, if you don't, it is only the second movie this year to get an A+ cinema score, which is really the audience score when they're coming out of the theater. And this and Top Gun Maverick. This is both really well for The Woman King, really for award season, as it's coming out just early enough where it'll play in theaters for a while with not a lot of major competition. And then by the time Oscar season goes around, it'll be on a really good rental deal on PVOD by the time Oscar season turns around. So huge opportunity for The Woman King, but a huge really win for Sony for getting back here in this top five, really overproducing it. And clearly there's an audience, as most people try to avoid, but before we talk about, there's an audience for these uplifting, very much empowering Black, especially female-driven movies. And The Woman King comes through for Sony, led by Viola Davis. I will be reviewing this movie tomorrow here on the channel, or if this comes out on Tuesday, I'm reviewing it Tuesday as well. So stay tuned for a Woman King review, but that'll be coming out soon. And number two is in its second weekend, which is Barbarian. This is from 20th Century Fox, which is Disney, basically. $6.5 million in its second weekend, and only 38% drop for Barbarian. It takes its 2-week total to 21.1. Clearly, the word of mouth is good. This is a super low drop for a horror film. Most horror films drop in that 60 to 70 big blockbuster percentile, but even for horror films that don't open big, they have a huge drop off. But the word of mouth, the fact that you really don't want to spoil this movie for people, twists and the turns. It's one of my favorite horror movies of the year. Really one of my favorite movies of the year. Barbarian doing very well. Now it is $21 million, not a huge budget, but a really good hold for a second weekend, especially for a horror film. Clearly the word of mouth is good enough to keep this movie at number two. In third place this weekend is Pearl. Now, this is the sequel for A24, coming off of X, which came out earlier this year. Pearl gets $3.1 million in its opening weekend. I felt like this, I haven't even seen X. I feel like this movie could have been done really huge if it was on a particular streaming service. There were people talking about the movie for sure. And X was in the top rentals on iTunes this weekend. So people wanted to catch up for that to see this. But this is not one of the big successes for A24. I think this movie, if it found a home on a streaming service, really could have blown up because it's currently exclusive in theaters. It's kind of a niche A24 horror franchise, which I feel like if they had a chance to go on a streaming service, this franchise could be a big deal. It just isn't. It's a very niche audience, and not enough people, I think, even saw the first one. So Pearl number three. The other new release of the weekend, the third one here in the top five, is a movie called See How They Run. It comes from Searchlight with a $3 million opening. This movie with a pretty great cast: Saoirse Ronan, Sam Rockwell, David Oyelowo, Adrian Brody, a movie that I've never seen any footage of, a poster for, a trailer, no promotion. I didn't realize this movie was coming out until Friday. And clearly not enough people did because it only made $3 million in its opening weekend. Again, this movie, maybe if it found a streaming service, could really build this movie up, especially with this all-star cast of Academy Award winning or nominated actors, but instead it just chose to be a pretty much no publicity movie coming out. And I guess some people saw it because it made $3 million, but I heard nothing about this movie and still haven't. And I'm talking about the movie now. And finish out the top five will be Sony's second movie of the top five, which is Bullet Train, which is now in its seventh weekend, 2.5 million, 23% drop. And it's at $96.4 million. So 3.6 more to go for Bullet Train to get to the century mark of $100 million. I think a lot of us thought it would get to $100 million a lot quicker. The question is, it probably will get to $100 million based on just not enough competition, especially in the action genre for a little bit. So should get to 100, but took a lot longer than we think. And that also, by the way, kicks Top Gun Maverick in its 17th week out of the top five. Bullet Train edging out by just under around $300,000 over Top Gun Maverick. So in 17 weeks, only the second time we are talking about Top Gun Maverick not being in the top five. When we look at our overall box office charts, Top Gun Maverick is still the biggest movie of the year domestic, $709 million. Doctor Strange 2 is at $411. Jurassic World Dominions at $375. The Batman at $369. Minions: The Rise of Gru is at $364. $342 for Thor: Love and Thunder, then a big drop off to number 7. Sonic 2 with $190. Elvis getting to $150 domestic. That movie's still available on HBO Max. Uncharted is number 9 with $148. Nope is at $122. Lightyear's number 11 with $118. And the wrapping up the century mark is The Lost City, a number 12 of $105. So a couple movies. Bullet Train's currently number 14. Bullet Train is only under $300,000 to pass The Bad Guys to get to the century mark. And then looking at the worldwide domestic totals, the worldwide totals, Top Gun Maverick at $1.4 billion at number 1, $996 for Jurassic World Dominion, did not really make up any ground. So it's still under $4 million to get to the $1 billion club, but it's far past its release. It's already available on Peacock for Peacock Premium. So it would be kind of a miracle if it got there, but what a fight from Jurassic World Dominion. Big win for Universal. Doctor Strange is at $952. And then Minions: The Rise of Gru getting up to $914. So we have now 4 movies now over $900 million this year worldwide. The Batman's at $767, number 5. Thor: Love and Thunder is at 6 of $750. And then all the way to number 9 is Fantastic Beasts 2 at 404.5. And Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is at 404. At 404 on the money. So that is the top 10. That is this past weekend. 3 new releases, shocking movie theaters this weekend, breaking into the top 5. Not a lot of still big box office numbers, and we won't get them for a little bit, but the last weekend of September is upon us in theaters. Coming out on Thursday is in limited release and a wide release the following week is Smile, a big horror film. It's got really great promotion. Smile was supposed to be a streaming movie, and then based on how great the audience scores was, they pushed that movie to a theaters exclusive release. So it will be releasing limited this weekend, and then it'll be released worldwide the following weekend. So it's, again, trying to hope for some word of mouth this weekend to push it to a pretty big release on September the 30th. Don't Worry, Darling is the big movie of the weekend from Warner Brothers Discovery, only one of their final 2 movies of the year. This is the Olivia Wilde directed film, which has had so much really negative buzz around its issue with director-star relationship between Olivia Wilde and Florence Pugh, with Harry Styles, Chris Pine. There's just a lot of news surrounding this movie. The question is, will it do well in theaters? It did not get really great critic scores from TIFF. So we shall see if Don't Worry, Darling can break through. This is, again, the second to last weekend of September. So we're heading on. This is really the last big movie coming out in September. So will you check out Don't Worry, Darling? Will you see Smile in a limited release this weekend? Let me know your thoughts. I'll be back tomorrow. This week's schedule, all reviews of The Woman King, a new Netflix movie that just came out this past Friday. I'll do a review for that. She-Hulk reviews on Thursdays, and then Andor review as well coming this week. Tons of stuff to review, and I'll see you guys soon.